Welcome to another episode of You the Mom, where we put the spotlight on remarkable mom stories, lessons, and conversations. I'm Janice, founder of Mommy Mundo, and I'm just so happy you could join me here again on You the Mom. Can you believe we are now on season 6? In case you didn't know yet, we named this podcast You the Mom because we at Mommy Mundo like to say that we are every mom's biggest cheerleader. And this podcast is our way of doing just that, cheering you on through our discussions here and also hoping that we also make you feel like, just like our guests, we think you're doing a great job as well. So thank you to all of you who have been listening in the past 6 seasons, listening to all our episodes, sharing it with friends, and also sending comments and suggestions. We always love hearing from you. So our guest today in You the Mom is an old friend, someone who was around even before Mommy Mundo existed. We were together in early breastfeeding advocacy events, parenting events. We even did outreach events together. So many memories together. And it's been a pleasure watching her as a young mom of two boys and now with a third baby girl. Well, not really a baby anymore, right? And of course, her husband. So we'd like to welcome Patricia Bermudez Hizon. Hi, Shan. Her nickname Shan.
Yeah, I know. See, Janice, you can tell how far back a relationship is by how they call you, right? So Janice is one of those young looking, yet we go way back, old friend, as she said. But it's so good to see you.
Thank you. You've always been part of Mommy Mundo. I know that you work with us even till today. Like you are our Suke host in our one of our mainstay events, and I'm so happy you're back with us. We took a break for a while because we were all shifting and transitioning, but then I remembered why don't you just shift back? And then it's like supernatural, right?
Right. And I love how I get to be part of Mommy Mundo, but really have Mommy Mundo be part of me again in this second coming of motherhood, right? Because of the children, this second batch of this new addition to the family has been quite challenging and difficult and different. And Mommy Mundo has truly, honestly, not because you were talking, it's not because of you, but really it's helped me retransition and reinsert myself back in that stage of motherhood. It's been helpful. It's so good to have a community and it's so good to have resources because things have changed, Janice. From the
Yeah.
time you had Reese and I had Vicente and Paul, motherhood has changed so much.
Yeah, that's I agree on everything. You've been support to me too when I was a young mom myself, and it's different when you talk to a mom with experience. And also when we talk to new moms now, like we also learn a lot. Like especially with you, we had your third, which is why I wanted to have you here with us at You the Mom. Um, we were together when you were bringing up our boys, me a little ahead of you, but I would
Yeah.
see how you were with your sons. Wanted to talk to you about how it was raising your two very independent minded boys. And then now with your girl, Patrice. So your two boys are named Vicente and Paul, and your little princess, Patrice. So first, how was it as a mom growing up raising your two sons, uh, what kind of mom are you? Well, and is it the same like from the time you had your boys and now with Patrice?
I'll address that last question. No, it's never the
Yeah.
same, right? It's always different with every child, more so now in this season of my life. So when I had Vicente and Paul, I was in my late 20s, early 30s, had all the energy, put in so much focus to a point that I think I put my husband, behind the children because um, honestly, it's natural for us moms to put more focus and energies and prioritize our children. Later on, I realized that I should have actually had my husband not involved because he's always been involved, but I should have put as much energy, if not even more, on my marriage. But that could be another topic. But
Right.
I really tried to be a hands-on mom, and because I see as my models a lot of other mothers like yourself, Mikey Jaworski, who's really helped me through motherhood because I didn't have my mom and my mother-in-law wasn't here and she had passed just a few months after Vicente. So I didn't really have a go-to. Um, I've lived independently away from my own family who are from Canada, but I lived independently here in the Philippines, of course, living with relatives, but eventually on my own for many, many years prior to motherhood and prior to marriage. So I was putting everything together on my own and figuring things out on my own with the help of people that I've always asked. So
Yeah.
having that kind of support really influenced my motherhood a lot. Um, I would ask my friends, I would watch how they were, and tried to create my own style. Not that I would copyright my own style. There's no such thing because motherhood is really an individual and unique
True.
relationship that each one would have. So for me with Vicente, I was very cautious. Same with
Yeah.
every and any first time mom.
Right.
And I would do everything on my own, independently, read books, go to all the talks. And I think that's
Yeah.
where I spent a lot of time
I
together.
remember baby signs, baby sign
Yes,
language with my sister. Yeah,
exactly. I
those
was
kind of talks.
everything. So I
Yeah.
wanted to be a super mama. I felt that I I needed to be 110% for this child, and there was nothing left of me for anything else.
Yeah.
And because that's natural for us moms, especially for first time moms. So I was glad that I had the right support, even if I didn't have my family. I had friends and I had that community to go to. But when Paul came along, I felt that, oh, I got this motherhood thing down pat. I'm kind of a
Yeah.
veteran. Um, and and for some reason, I felt that Vicente needed me more than Paul because Paul was a baby. He didn't know what was going on, but yet there's this toddler who couldn't
Yeah.
understand why there
What
was
was their
no
age gap? What was
2
your
years,
2 years? Yeah.
half, yeah, 2.5. So it
Right.
was really difficult to balance that toddler who was demanding more of my attention and my time and breastfeed Paul, put more attention to him. I think Paul ended up walking a lot earlier than Vicente because he probably in his mind said, I've
Oh.
had enough. I'm going to my mama because she's not coming to me.
Yeah, and while our eldest ones like were dependent on us, like they're also very cautious because we were also cautious. Do you see that? Like I also see that like we were over like hovering over them.
Right?
Yeah.
And you see with Vicente the output, the outcome of how I was as a mother. I see it now with him as an 18-year-old. Two very, very different personalities.
So
Um,
wait, so Vicente's now 18 and Paul
he
is
is.
16.
He's turning 16 in April, Polly.
Wow. Yeah. So I still remember when Vicente was super into astrology. So that's why I
Yes.
was like, so if you say that you were like a mom who was really into it and all, I do remember that time. That would probably be one of my memories of you, like really talking to him about the planets, like nurturing his interest. Um, I didn't see you as like a helicopter parent. No, it was more of really like active, involved parent. Same with with Vince, your husband, right?
Right.
So, um, how was it growing up with boys and being sons of an athlete? Did you feel that there was any pressure for them to be physically active into sports? Was that something in your family that you felt was there, or how did you deal with that kind of, I guess, pressure, for lack of a better word?
Well, raising boys
Yeah,
meant that I had, I had to be strong as well. I'm not talking about physically strong because,
yeah.
you have to be tough. Not that I was giving tough love, but I mean, you have to be tough because it has a lot of ups and downs. And basically, I had no basis of comparison anyway at that time. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how it was to raise a child. And Mikey, who also had three boys, well, now three boys, she was also raising boys.
Ah,
So I would go to her, but
this is
you
Mikey
know,
Kawanko.
yeah, Mikey
Yeah,
Kawanko. She was my go-to and my resource person for a lot of motherhood stuff, right?
yeah.
But it I I knew that I wanted to raise boys that would love their mom, but wouldn't be mama's boys. It's a
Oh,
tough,
that's
right?
nice.
It's that weird
Yes.
divide. and it's easy to cross.
Right.
But I wanted them to have a healthy relationship with their dad because I felt that, of course, Vince being the father has to be, has to make a huge impact in their lives, lead them and show them how it is to be a gentleman, and
True.
and play that role in influencing them. But as toddlers when they were young, I gave up so much of myself, my career, and everything. But by the time that I was done breastfeeding, that uh, they, started going to school, preschool, and everything, I went back to my career. And we can talk about that later on. But as they were growing older, I saw that they they needed more and more of me to
Mm.
just be with them and not necessarily hover over them. I needed to allow them, even at a young age of maybe 4 or 5, something like that, when they were in school. I just needed to allow them to speak and to have their opinions on things, even at a at a young age.
Yeah.
Um, because at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna dress up my kid. I'm always gonna be this. I'm gonna comb their hair. So not that I was helicopter, but I just
Right.
wanted to cherish it. I just
Right. I
needed
get you.
to. I just needed to, squeeze every bit of their childhood and enjoy it myself, right? But um, they started having a lot of activities, and at that point I started to find, to redefine myself and find myself too. Not that I lost my identity in parenting babies and toddlers at that time, but it's just that during that season I knew that my energy needed to be for the kids. And
Yeah.
honestly, like I mentioned earlier, it affected our marriage because
Right.
it was too much of me for them. But as they grew older and Vince and I started talking about how we would fix our relationship and our marriage, and also, also give myself for my husband,
Yeah.
things became more holistic. I understood that I needed to be a good wife as well to be able to be a
Yeah.
good mother and provide that environment where it was holistic and supportive.
Yeah, I get you. I think marriage, one of the toughest things that can happen to a marriage is having children. Because like the attention really shifts. Plus there's so much even physically, like you're so drained, your energy, our body's changing and all. So it's good to know that you and Vince were able to like evolve as a married couple, even with how your kids were growing.
Yeah,
Um, did
I
did yeah, did Vince feel that how was he bonding with the boys? As I
oh
mentioned, well, Vince is a professional basketball player, at least he used to be. So there's that legacy of basketball in your family. Um, because I wanted to ask you this because sometimes we also project right um our own views, our interests, our dreams on our children. Did you feel that that was also there in your
yeah, the pressure. I mean,
family?
even as little kids, the boys didn't understand it, but obviously people would say, "Oh, Vince Hizon's son, they're gonna be basketball players." Like people were imprinting on my children what they think they should be because they're the son of.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we, as their parents, we made a conscious effort not to pressure them to be in a specific sport, but we did make sure that they were active, that they would
Yes.
enjoy movement. It was all of that.
Because you're an athlete as well, right? You're also
I,
very active. So
Yeah, and I thought that was important just because it was for
yeah.
their health, their physical development, and everything. But I know of some parents who, and my parents-in-law were like that. My in-laws were like that with Vince because he was the youngest of 6 children, and um, he was very, very young. Like, I think the difference between the eldest and Vince were also 15 years.
Oh wow.
So but then they gave Vince a basketball in his crib growing up. So he was already into basketball before he even knew how to, hold a ball, what a ball is, and what the shape of a
Yeah.
ball is. So, but that was fine because that was the environment they had for him. But for us, we made a conscious effort not to pressure our children and to try to peel them away from that because we saw it and we felt
Mm.
it every single time they would see our children. Oh, magiging basketball
Yeah.
player. This child's going to be a basketball player. So our kids were like, what? So for a long time, as they were growing up, we didn't. They didn't know how to play basketball. They never were pressured to attend clinics or anything like that. If they wanted to walk away from it, okay. They played different sports. They played bowling, they did taekwondo, they went into swimming, football, but not really basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should also try to keep that in mind, right? That like it's that's conscious parenting now, right? Remember the what we're now learning in this new parenting stage. Like if before when our kids were growing up, our boys, um, it was all about remember discipline, raising a smart baby, and all that. And now it's all about conscious parenting. Like, why do you want your child to grow up this way? Is it because of your own your own journey and needs as a person? So it's really amazing how things have evolved. So I want to ask you
I
with
think
your
we
daughter.
yeah, but I think Janice, I'm not sure about your household and how you grew
Yeah.
up, but I grew up living out my mom's frustrations that she
Yeah.
didn't get to because she was a young wife. She got married at 18.
Oh,
So there were a lot of things that she deprived herself of and had, four children, not really in a row, but in a span of how many years. So she lost a lot of her, her dreams, her aspirations and gave that up. And at least for me, it wasn't like that. And Vince, it was not like that because we said we didn't want that for our children. We didn't want that to be something that, we will regret. Because I think there's a lot of regrets when, your children disappoint you because they didn't fulfill your dreams.
yeah, right. And they don't also realize their own identity, right? Because then they realize that it's all ours.
Yeah,
So
it's hard.
yeah. So our younger ones, I guess, are the beneficiaries of our evolved consciousness. How has it been raising your daughter? So happy for you. Well, of course, when you were pregnant, I was like, oh my gosh, it's another time again. And then I saw you at the Mommy Window event, right? We had you there with us, and then picking up the latest baby stuff after. Wait, so how long? How old was Paul when you were pregnant?
13.
13. So 14-year gap. 13, 14-year gap.
13, yeah, almost 14-year gap.
Okay. So I know that when she came out, you were like celebrating, right? I mean, another baby and a daughter at that. So I know you're having so much fun with her. How has it been raising a little girl?
The pandemic would have been really depressing if we didn't have Patrice.
Yeah.
Everything and everything has its purpose, and it's always in God's perfect timing. Because prior to Patrice coming, we didn't really want to have any more children. I mean, our kids were already old. The boys were old.
You were done.
We were done, and I was back in my career. I was doing all sorts of things, and the boys were fine. and and every time people would ask me, oh, would you have another child, I said no. We're done. I only have two hands, so I can only afford two children. So I would always say in jest, and I would always say, factory clothes forever. But I think it was in 2017, I had an unexpected pregnancy, but I had a miscarriage.
Mm.
So it was when I'm pregnant. I cannot believe it. I got scared. I didn't think I was ready for it. And then, it was a quick switch. But of course, I'm so happy that I'm pregnant. So I went from what to yay. And then 3 months later, we went through a really, really difficult time. It never goes away.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So this 2017.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then um so the pain for some reason lingers. But then we decided, because that was unplanned. Vince and I had a talk, and we're like, you know what? Maybe
Yeah.
this is what God wants for us. But he realized, he needed something changed in our lives. So we went through a journey where we needed to prepare ourselves for
Yeah.
parenthood. And so I eventually got pregnant. But that was a time when I had my ACL. After my
Oh,
ACL surgery, because I tore my ACL wakeboarding. Good job preparing for pregnancy, right? But I was so fit. It was one of those seasons where I was really absolutely fit at the peak of my health again because
usually that's what happens when you're super fit, right?
we go through peaks and valleys with our health. So I was
Yeah.
at that peak of that season. So we got pregnant, and you know, we were so happy. I was 42 when I had Patrice. It
Wow.
wasn't an easy pregnancy, but it was full of joy. You know,
Yeah.
I when I was pregnant with the boys, I didn't go through that, taking the photo on a weekly
Yeah.
basis. I didn't go through that. That wasn't a thing, I don't think, yet. But I did it with Patrice, so I
Oh,
said this could be the very, very, very last. So let's embrace it. So my pregnancy journey, when I had the boys, was first with Vicente, cautious and scared and not really knowing what to do and really just discovering. With Paul, I was, a lot more at ease, but I had a toddler. But with Patrice, it was like being a first time mom, but with a lot more experience
yeah.
and more support,
More support. Yes.
but older. So, um, having Patrice, having a baby during that time, I realized that there were some things that I learned during my first two tours of duty that I wanted to apply and improve on uh, here. I just stopped breastfeeding Patrice. She's 3 now. I just stopped breastfeeding her at around, actually, a couple of days ago. She went to me and she
Oh,
asked for my
oh,
milk.
she
I
asked?
don't think there was any milk. Okay, I don't think there was any milk, but she had asked, and Abby Abbott,
Yeah.
right, who still breastfeeds to this
Hi,
day,
Abby.
yeah, hi Abby. I'm reminded of what she said. She's like, you just don't turn them away.
Mhm.
It may be for comfort. I don't know if there was any milk that flowed, but it was for comfort. And so, I welcomed it. It's not that she asked to be breastfed many times. I actually miss it. But
Oh, yeah.
officially, we stopped breastfeeding around 2 years, 9 months, something like that.
Oh, it's
It's
always
funny.
bittersweet, right? When you win. Yes.
Yeah,
Closing the stage.
yeah.
So how do you see yourself if you were cautious and then more at ease? So with Patrice, it's really, do you feel like um this is the mom, like the mom that you thought you would be, if there's such a thing? Or are you like still always still learning along the way? What kind of child, what's her personality like?
Well, first of all, if you stop learning, there's something wrong, right? So even after 6 kids, not that I have, but I do have a lot of friends. Hi, Joy Soto. Hi,
Yes.
Joy Mendoza, who have 6 kids. But I see that it's a continuous learning for them, and it's the same for all of us moms with every child at any stage, no matter how many children you've had the privilege of giving birth to, you still continue to learn. So yeah, I continue to learn with Patrice, but I like your first question. I feel like with Patrice, not that I'm selling short my motherhood journey with Paul and Vicente, but I just feel like I was my best mom,
Yeah.
if there was a term,
Yeah.
because I knew better, because I had more support with the two boys, and because of the pandemic. The
Agree.
pandemic has been a blessing to us because I was at home. I was at home. I didn't need to be anywhere. I could focus my energy and I was able to multitask. I would run a company because I'm a CEO of a media company. I would run my company, do this virtual thing, which is amazing, a huge blessing, right? Be in so many places all at once and talk to so many people,
Right. And host events for us.
and host events all while breastfeeding. Honestly, I think my breastfeeding journey was extended because of this setup.
Right.
I
That's
had the desire for the
true.
boys. I went over a year with each boy, but not
Yes.
those 3 years.
So you had her right before the pandemic. And
Yeah,
then,
she
wow.
turned 3 last January 11. And that was when the Taal volcano, was
Yes.
around that time. So we were at home anyway, and I got very sick. after I gave
Oh,
I almost lost my life. And it was
yes.
part of preeclampsia.
Yes.
Even even then, my husband and my children had a bigger appreciation for my life, and I had, of course, a bigger
Yes.
appreciation even. And then, there was Patrice, who we had to care
Yeah.
for, gave us so much joy. So that's why I feel that because of the season, the situation, the support, and even the
Yeah.
stage of the life of the members of my family, they were able to support me and help me be the best mom that I could be.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about preeclampsia. I know that you're very passionate about talking about that because not a lot of people knew or know even about that condition, right? So what happened with your delivery? Is it a
So,
pre-existing, like you knew you had it before when you were pregnant?
oh,
Oh,
no, everything checked out during my pregnancy. Of
yeah.
course, I was being monitored by many specialists because I think 35 years old and above is considered geriatric pregnancy, right? And um, on a personal note, I was going through a lot of stress with my work, with my, with the environment that I was in. Media is really not that easy, and it was very demanding. And there were a lot of changes also that I needed to embrace. That's on the, work side. And so it really added to the stress
Yeah.
level. But um, but what happened was, if I had spotting here and there, I would be asked to go on bed rest, but not for a long period, just for a couple of days, a week, and all that. So, but I was still active, because I was doing rehab for my knee. I was doing leg presses, and I was doing all these weight bearing
Yeah.
exercises up until my 7th month. That's when I stopped.
Yeah.
Still, I was being monitored, so
Right.
everything was good. But preeclampsia can actually happen even before you give birth. So it is advised that moms, and I know that some hospitals now offer checks for preeclampsia in particular, specifically. So I suggest that you ask your OB about that,
Yeah.
um, because there's no
It's not
explanation. There's
standard. It's not a standard test that they do. You have to like start the conversation on it.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
more
'cause
and more they're becoming more active
mm,
in monitoring that. But my thing happened. My case is quite rare, but I've heard of many moms through the Mommy Mundo community. I've heard of
yeah.
some moms that have gone through it, and unfortunately, they some didn't survive, and that
Mm,
crushes me. That really
yeah.
just crushed my heart. But for me, I was at home already with Patrice, um, and she had been. I'd been at home for 4 days, so a week after Patrice was
After
born.
delivery, yeah.
After delivery, so I
Everything
was
normal.
everything normal. I didn't have swelling during my pregnancy. In fact,
Mm.
I felt so beautiful and pretty and sexy, and I think that was all the hormones, right? But my husband
Yeah.
was telling me, so that really helped. He would always whisper to me, "You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful." So
Oh.
doggy points, brownie points. But after that, I felt that, I started feeling it swelling in my hands, my feet, and in a matter of days, I saw it in my face. I was like, why now? Why would I get swelling? And one day, I just got so dizzy that, and I wanted to throw up, and I called my doctor because she said, if there are any signs of this, please call me. So I called her. I was like, this is happening to me, and I want to sleep. I think I should just sleep. And she was like, go back to the hospital now. Go to the delivery room, not the emergency room, the delivery room now. So my husband went, came home. He had to rush home and rush me to the hospital. And he had to park, so he had to drop me off, right? Because it's not
Yeah.
the ER, it's the delivery room. So I had to walk. And I was getting woozy, and I didn't wait for someone to bring me in a wheelchair. That I had to hold the wall on the way to the delivery room, but eventually someone helped me, right? And apparently my normal BP of 90 over 60, so I'm really
Yes.
low blood, 90 over 60. I went up to 150,
Oh
160. Vince said that they they were already on standby for
oh my gosh.
stroke. They were already on standby for epilepsy or whatever it is that could happen.
Yeah.
Everyone was now on standby for work. My heart rate um, peaked
Wow.
at almost 200. So
Wow.
I and the funny thing is, okay, remember I have a child who we brought with us. So I Vince had made arrangements because praise God that this hospital has a wonderful breastfeeding center. Um,
Mhm.
so and I was lactating like crazy, and this
Oh,
child needed my milk. I wouldn't have it any other way. So the hakas that didn't
yes.
exist. That did
Haka,
not
yeah. I didn't get to use the haka.
didn't get to use that. So while I was on the table, I was lactating. A child was, needed milk. So the breast and the lactation nurse, who was my lactation nurse, came
Yeah.
by to see me and supported me all the
Oh,
way.
wow.
She helped take care of the baby because Vince was in the breastfeeding room, not knowing what to do,
Mm.
right? And I had a new yaya at that time, not really knowing what to do. She attached those things to me, the hakas, got a lot of milk, and while all of that was happening,
Wow.
I was producing milk,
Wow, amazing.
right? So even though my body was going through something,
Yeah.
supply milk for my baby. So it really is a
Amazing.
miracle
Yeah.
that after the ordeal and even when I was in the recovery room, they allowed me to have my baby with me. It was so
Wow.
difficult because I had the IV and I had
Yeah.
like I was being monitored, but I refused to not have the baby with me to be fed.
Yeah.
So he was with me in the recovery room. They gave me a separate room, recovery room. I was breastfeeding despite all of these things
Yeah.
happening. What an ordeal because Vince was
Wow.
really asking all of our friends, our support groups to pray for
And
me.
prayers. Yeah.
Was it could have turned the way.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
kind of
wow.
lost sight a little bit on my eyes, so I had to do a CT scan and everything. So I didn't have a stroke, so that was a good thing.
Wow. God, thank God you're okay. And here to share that story, I guess it's really something we should look out for also. Yeah.
For
Could that have been avoided? What did the doctor say? How do we
Well, it
or
can be
just
done.
awareness?
Yeah, it's awareness. Awareness is
Yeah.
key. Knowing what to do, even the people around you, knowing what to do when they see the signs, because you may not be aware of it.
Yeah.
Um, Continuous communication with your OB. OBs are great. They will welcome you to talk to them. And
Yeah.
uh, at the same time, just knowing the next steps, just awareness.
Yes.
Vince was very aware. He was in
Yeah.
control of the situation. He was scared. Of course, he was praying. He was scared, but he knew what to do.
Yeah.
Even calling the lactation nurse, that was such a big thing. Knowing what to do with the
Yes.
baby, bringing the baby with us. So
Yes. And also being aware that, because usually after giving birth, you think you're right. You're already, yes, I made it. Everything's good. Just knowing that your body went through labor and
yeah,
then just observing everything. So thanks for sharing that story. And yes, thank God you're okay. And an amazing breastfeeding story with Patrice. Wow. That was the start of your breastfeeding journey with her.
yeah. And so I said, there's
Mm.
no way I'm gonna give up on this journey now. Uh,
Right.
You
And
can't,
less
you
than
can,
three
and you can't
years.
go on a Mommy Mundo talk and host and talk about breastfeeding and talk to people like Abby and Rome and not
Yes.
be motivated, not be
Right.
motivated to continue, right?
True. So, and before we end, I wanted to talk to you. One of the most important topics in our conversations, really looking forward to this, is the reinvention of yourself. So, we would be in touch, like in and out, the past, yeah, 18 years, I guess, right? Since your boys were growing. And I've seen different versions of you. Well, not that you're a different version every time, but really knowing how you pivot and transform and not be afraid to journey into new things. So at the time, I believe you were doing newscasting, hosting, and then really getting into sports casting. And then
Yes.
one time I asked you, I asked you to host, and then you said, "Oh, I have a job." So were back in corporate, and then when I was inviting you for the podcast, I find out that okay, you joined the Philippine Navy. So Chan, this is really interesting because one of my things I'm passionate about when I talk to our fellow moms is to just not stop dreaming for ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes when we have kids, we have many dreams for them. It's in a snap. You'll ask a mom, "What do you think your kid will be?" Oh, I think he's going to be this. I think I'll put him into this in summer. I'll let him try this. And then when you ask a mom to try, for example, dance class, like me, if you ask me to do dance class, I'll be like, I'm so scared. Right. So wait, someone is so I wanted to ask you first, what you've been up to. So right, you said that when you're a new mom, you kind of lost yourself, but you're still into so many things and even your sports. Um, so tell us the story of Shaan through the years, and then what is your mindset when it comes to doing new things and challenging yourself?
You know, sometimes we're just put in situations, right, where we need to adapt.
Yeah.
Um, right? So at that time when you were mentioning my first, actually my corporate job, that was my first ever corporate job. I
Oh,
had never had
really?
a corporate job. Yes, prior to that, because I was always into, I was always right after college, even during college, I was already doing news. So news, sports. So it was always in media, hosting, writing, and all of that, right? Um, so what happened was I was the first ever female PBA basketball anchor in the Philippines, and still the only one. Unfortunately, we're working on that. That's part of my mission to train the next. But I, I I was put in a situation where I was told after many years of doing this, of being an
Yeah.
anchor, eventually they shifted directions and said, you know what, we don't think a woman should do it. Honestly, I'm very open about that story because it's
What? Okay.
part of my origin story, right? It's part of who I am. So it was a big door shut, like straight in
Hmm.
my face, and it really was a defining moment. Not define, not all defining moments are good things, right? That was a really, really bad time in my life.
Yeah.
So I think fall, what was this fall? Like 7, 8, something like that. But
Yeah.
so I was like, wow, I put in so much of myself. I put myself out there. I worked really hard. I'm like the hardest worker out there because I'm not that talented. So
Sure.
I compensated by working so hard, preparing for every game, and I did
Okay.
well. Honestly, I think
But I
I
don't
did
think
well.
you were not
Last year,
talented, Shaan, with
last
the Okay, I would have to stop you there.
I worked very hard. So I did
Yeah.
it for so many years, then all of a sudden change, right? So it's like, oh, what now? So suddenly there's this uh company that asked
Yeah.
because I was doing CSR work. So you mentioned that
Yes.
we
Ever
got to
since. No, you had been, we were together in one, but you were doing that for so long. Like it's been part of your life, right?
the
Your
foundation.
outreach.
It's your birthday
Yeah, your
foundation, right? Doing
foundation.
outreaches and everything. And so that
Yeah.
caught the attention of one of the PBA team's manager and
Yeah.
said, well, there's an opening here in one of the companies, and it was a water utility company. And they said, won't you come in to try to help with the corporate social responsibility work? I said, that's up my alley.
Amazing.
Why not? Let's do it. This
Amazing.
is something that
Yeah.
I've been doing that I feel that I'm qualified. This may be my first office job. I don't know what it is to be in a corporate environment, but I qualify because I
Yeah.
know how to deal with communities, deal with organizations. And so I thought the work was just that. And then when I got there, they said, oh, by the way, it's also head of marketing. I said,
Oh,
but you know
wow.
what? I said,
You can
you know
still do
what?
that.
I stage events. I've done
Yeah.
campaigns little by little. I'll put it together. I can do it. I will crush this. So that was
Love
my.
it.
I am the queen. I honestly, I'm the queen of winging it. I would never say no to an opportunity. I would never let one pass, and I would just give my all and do my best until you think I'm the master of it. Until I think,
I love
um,
it.
you know, so I wing it like a pro, and there's actually a book about that. I wish I had written it, but I wing it like a pro. But it's just really embracing, knowing that you may have the basics, but there's a lot of room for growth, which is exciting for me. That always excites me. So that was a defining moment again. So from a journalist, sportscaster, host, and everything, of course, I still took my hosting thing with me, but I I put what I knew, and I think I was successful because
Yeah.
I created a team that was just so excellent that got a lot of recognition, but more importantly, got great work done that still to this day
Amazing.
still exists. And I've left that company, so I feel like, oh, it's a legacy if you do something
Legacy.
that
Yeah.
lasts, right? And so I kept getting moved from one company to the other within the same group, which is I guess a testimony on what they see, the value that they see in
Right.
me. Until, I headed sports for TV5 for a long time. And
Yes.
that's just, again, putting my experiences in corporate and putting my sports experience and
Right.
background
Right.
involved. And so
Together.
I said,
The
that is the
merging of your worlds.
exactly. I said, that is the purpose. I wouldn't have been an effective leader if I had just my background in broadcast. But God allowed me and allowed that
Yes.
pain in my life, and worked on my other aspects that I needed to work on, corporate world. And he eventually put all of that together
I
to
love
work,
it.
right? And then, Janice, to tell you honestly, I left TV5 and I joined this startup. It's called Plus Network.
Okay.
And what's great about it
And you're the
is
CEO now.
of
Boss.
we started it.
Boss, Sean. Amazing.
We started it
Yeah.
because we wanted to create intentional content that's values driven, not just online. We're working on our channel for this year. More on that later on. But it was, I felt that at that time that we were doing it, when Patrice was born and pre-pandemic, right before the pandemic, we were putting the plans together. The pandemic changed it, but it all happened at the right time. We were creating content on the digital space when people were into digital even more because of the pandemic. When people needed more content that were uplifting, we were in the same space as Mommy Mundo,
Yeah.
helping people, right? Helping people live their best lives and be better where they're at. So again, all the heartaches and all the difficulties and all the challenges that I went through in my career and all the reinvention brought.
Yes.
And so I'm excited because I'm in that space where we're really helping people maneuver, understand, and live better lives. And to be honest with you, for us, the deep-seated reason for why we do it for the Lord. We really do it for the Lord. So we're a Christian company. We don't push out, super, super Christian content, but it's
Values
biblical
driven.
values. Yes,
Yeah, that's much needed now. So,
exactly. So we
so
want
where do we
people.
find your program? Your,
Well, right
your
now, Plus Network has a website, but mainly just like everyone else, we have a YouTube channel, and we also are on
yeah.
Facebook and other social platforms. And
Yeah.
we're able to be sustainable in that way. So
So
we
what
don't
do
just
people search if they wanted to watch your shows?
My Plus Network or Plus Network.
Plus network.
So
Okay.
it's easy, but we have shows for parenting, we have shows on
Yeah.
personal finance, we have shows on cooking, on household, on yeah, and we've had many clients that also share the same vision. We're grateful because it wouldn't be a good venture if it wasn't sustainable. So
Yeah. Of
make sure,
course.
right, it was sustainable and it's built as that.
Yes.
So again, redefine, and embrace the challenge.
Yes.
And so one day,
Yeah, one day.
my husband came home and said, "Oh, I've been asked to be an ambassador for the Philippine Navy and I'm going to do it." I said, "Good for you." And so I observed how he did it and went through the training and went to his really emotional graduation. 2 months of training. Not that he wasn't at home. It was 2 months of training, weekends. But then there was that period where they would be in a camp in the Marine base camp for a number of days for their field training. And so we went to the graduation, and I was like, I want to do this.
Wow. Oh,
I
so it was Vince first and then oh my god.
said, I want to do this. We were supposed to do it together, but you
Oh.
know,
Yeah.
for some reason, my application wasn't accepted at that time. It was delayed. So they said,
Yeah.
sorry, we can accept you. It's full. Even if your husband is there, it doesn't matter, right? So I
Right.
applied. I applied again
Applied
for
again.
the next batch, and I got a slot, and I became class president.
So this is the Philippine Navy Reserves, guys.
Philippine Navy. So I went through the training. It
Wow.
was my weekends for 2 months were gone because we would be online from 5 a.m. sometimes till 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And there would be exams every week. And then the face-to-face training, my weekends were gone. I really dedicated it for that. And I was really gung-ho. I was so into it. Like I said, I would never go
Yeah.
into half-hearted, right? So I went all
Right.
out with it, became class president, and really embraced the journey. That up till now, these people in my class were very close. We communicate. In fact, we're going to an outreach the day after tomorrow. It's a
Amazing.
medical dental mission that my class, a number of us, are joining to support. So, it's been a wonderful journey. Now, after graduation, when Vince graduated, he
Yes.
was given an award as the strongest male. So there's a physical fitness
Okay.
test. So
Yeah.
it was Tarzan. And
I
I said,
can imagine.
I want to get awards too when I graduate. I'm competitive this way. I don't know what's wrong with me. But when I graduated, I also got the strongest female award in my batch. So I'm
Wow.
Jane. So now he's Tarzan and I'm Jane.
That is so perfect for you guys.
Right, right. We really journey together. But we have our mentor who said, "You guys do so many things. You guys are drawn to so many things. Parenting, homeschooling our boys. So we homeschool, and that's tough.
Wow.
Paul plays basketball, and we we hardly miss games. Almost
Paul took
almost
up the sport.
there's always a parent there for games. And then Vicente's into music, so we support him. And
Wow.
singer, he's a drummer, and one day he'll be a stage actor, and whatever wherever God leads. But he's preparing himself for college. He's in 11th grade now, so that's tough to be homeschooled and do that. And I'm not super great at homeschooling, but I'm doing my best. Um,
Yeah.
and then the baby, and then work, and Vince's work, and our business. We have businesses together as well, our consultancies, and all of these, right? We do so many things, plus the Philippine Navy. So, and plus we have our Bible study groups and
Yeah. Your
sports,
communities.
our communities and our sports. So, how do we converge everything? So, we've actually had to trim out some stuff in our lives
Mhm.
so that we can be more efficient and effective where, God feels and where God puts us. So, yeah, so Philippine Navy is part of our convergence. We're able to use our time, talent, and treasure, not just for the Lord, but glorify the Lord through the work that we do in the Philippine Navy. So we want to converge. But to tell you honestly, one of my reasons for joining, one of the, was also because I wanted to show the boys that women can do it.
Yeah. Yes,
I wanted to set
true.
that example too. I wanted to set that example too,
Yeah.
that their mom could do it. So yeah,
Great
check on that.
example, Shaan. So,
Because
gosh.
Dad's strong, right? Dad's strong. He's the
Yeah.
mentor. He's their drill master, and he also coaches them and everything. I take part in it, but more of a support. But I wanted to show them that
Yeah.
hey, Mama's got it too.
Plus, for Patrice as well, right? Like, for sure, she's gonna see how her mom has been, everything that you do, and you're all heart all the time. I love hearing your story. I mean, I didn't even know that was your first corporate job because when you told me, I was like, oh, I have this job. I was like, Sean does everything.
I know. And a lot of people around that time during the last election, everyone was like, let's do something for the country. And so when this Navy thing came about, I said, this is what I want to do for
Yeah,
the
that's
country.
it.
This is
Right.
my share. I don't want to just talk and go out there and be vocal and put on social media that
Yeah.
we should do this, and really not do anything. So I'm quiet. If you notice on my social media, I don't say anything political. I steer away from those things, and of course, I engage people,
Yeah.
and I I've always done work for the foundations and everything, and where we're needed, right? We do what we can.
Right.
But I said, yeah, the Philippine Navy is another way to converge all of those things that I want to do, because
Yeah.
now I can respond to disasters and have a system that I can be part of. It's at the end of it, more than following my husband's footsteps, more than proving to my children, it's really responding to the
Yeah. So
call.
still service. Yeah. So what is your official title? What is the
So
official
it's
title?
JO2, it's Journalist Petty Officer 2. Um, and now I'm also teaching. So I'm in the reserves, but in the enlisted Navy personnel, they have journalists. Many of them
Mm.
really don't have that background. So I just started actually teaching, um, and that's part of what I want to do. I realized that after leading teams, you really lead them and teach them and let them figure out, a process that they will do on their own. So this is something that I want to do. You go through that with Mommy Mundo, right? You lead a team, but you really lead them to be able to do things on
Yeah.
their own, like parenting. So I'm enjoying this journey with the Philippine Navy. I love putting on the uniform because it's something that I worked really, really, really hard for.
Yeah.
It was so
Well,
tough.
thank you for doing that for the country. And also, it's not only your kids who get inspired. So I wanted to also share that with our fellow moms and myself, like going through things here in Canada. There's always room for growth, right? It doesn't matter what age or stage we are in. Small or big ways we can grow and learn new things and find new ways to be the best of ourselves and use the gifts that God gave us for good. So thanks for being that example. I loved
Oh,
hearing. So what do you call it? The Sha'an transformation. I wonder what else is in store for you in the coming years, but looking
I'm sure
forward to that.
a lot more things, right? Just like with you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with change, we just need to. We
Yeah.
always say change is inevitable; it's going to happen, but we just need to be open to it. And like I said, wing it like a pro.
Wing it like a pro.
Sometimes we just need to put ourselves out there. We're so afraid, right, to try new things. But
Yes.
I think us moms, um, it's not like we were born and know already how to be a mother. It kicks in, but we're put in that situation. And I think, motherhood has taught me so much to be open to all of these types of situations, be ready for anything, and just give it your all. Give it your all every single time. And, honestly, I'm successful in my work because motherhood taught me that.
Yes. I believe that too. If we can raise these human beings, we can do anything. So let's never underestimate ourselves.
Yeah, true.
So thank you for sharing and for inspiring me and our fellow mommy, Shan. I love that you're part of Mommy Mundo. Thank you for all the support that you've given us. And I wish you well always.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Janice. Thank you so much to you and your team, to the community, to Mommy Mundo community, because we all really need that support. We go through so much, and the journey doesn't have to be lonely. Apart from our immediate family, sometimes we really have to go out of that inner circle, and there is that healthy community that's available that will welcome you and support you. And I'm glad that we all have each other.
Yeah, thanks, Shan. So thank you for being here on You the Mom, and thank you to all who listened to us today. So we at Mommy Mundo believe that all moms should be celebrated and cherished. So from us to you, we say, You
You
the Mom.